let's cross live to Port Harcourt in Rivers State and speak to our correspondent, Oviateme George. Oviateme, you have been on this all day. What can you tell us? First, the people's response to the state of emergency that's been declared in Rivers State. And are we getting any closer to finding out exactly those behind the breach of the pipelines?
Thank you, Ngozi. I think I'll have to start with the last question. We heard that the Rivers Police Command, through its public relations officer, that 2 persons have been arrested. However, not at the Mogo Bodo area where you have the Trans-Niger pipeline, the place I visited. So I want to believe that the 2 persons that were arrested elsewhere, because we also heard that there were explosions in other parts, all on critical oil infrastructure. That is yet to be confirmed because it's quite a distance to that area. Now that's about that. But how are the people responding to the proclamation, if you like, of a state of emergency? Nobody is happy. From the persons I actually spoke to, this is quite strange to them. But this is one thing many would want to leave for the legal minds to interpret in their own diverse ways and manners what it actually means for that pronunciation by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So many are not happy. I just want to sum it up that way. Everywhere is just calm as a lion asleep, so to speak.
Well, we do hope that that lion remains asleep for a very long time, Ovetime. But let me ask you, as someone who understands the Niger Delta and who has covered, the oil, the black gold of Nigeria, its importance, and of course consequences of vandalism to this country. When you visited Trans-Niger today, you did say in your report that this was not a bombing. However, experts on ground are saying there's a sabotage responsible. But in your own opinion, Ovetime, how often do we see things like this? I want you to answer this, because the president based, his declaration of state of emergency on the pipeline bombing today, since last night, beg your pardon. How often do we see this, and how uncommon is this really?
Okay, whenever there is a breach on any national infrastructure, say oil and gas, the first thing that comes to mind is, could it be sabotage? And then secondly, equipment failure, because most pipelines in Nigeria are obsolete, so to speak, because they have been established a long time ago. Sometimes aggrieved persons may want to tinker with it, and other times we just hear equipment failure. But oftentimes the regulatory agency, that is NOSDRA, comes up and says it is sabotage, a third-party interference. But the one I saw at the Trans-Niger pipeline, Adeswa, I have been seeing these things happen over time. That was sabotage, 100% sabotage. Somebody touched that facility. You see, they dug a hole around it and then did whatever they wanted to do. When it comes to equipment failure, these things happen, and it's an accidental problem. But this one, they came for it. They tampered with it and perhaps made their getaway before anybody could come. And you heard that there was no casualty. If there was, we definitely could have found some bodies there. But none was found. So at a time when there is tension and many persons observing what's actually happening in Rivers State, and with some persons aggrieved to the cause, saying they could tamper with critical infrastructure, one may not confidently rule out the possibility that it was breached by persons who are aggrieved. Now you talked about how often this has been happening. Adeswa, it has not been happening for a long period. That area, that's Gokana area, Eleme area, no, for quite a long while. I haven't heard of that, and I haven't reported of that. When you talk about oil theft, yes, we understand. But where a pipeline infrastructure is breached and oil is collected, crude oil, I haven't heard for quite a long time. So this one, I may not be one of the regulatory agencies, and a joint investigation visit has not been conducted yet, and no report yet. But I can tell you, take it to the bank. It was sabotage of the highest order at this one.
George, thank you very much for that.